Justin Trudeau told supporters in Montreal he will be the Prime Minister of all Canadians. The Liberal Party of Canada swept the election Monday night to win a majority government over the Conservatives and New Democratic Party. Trudeau credited his victory after a 78-day campaign with talking and listening to Canadians and has promised to end a decade of division, unite Canadians and embrace diversity. We begin our coverage with CCTV's Roee Ruttenberg. Roee, analysts had been predicting that this would be a win for the Liberals, but when we look at the results as they came in, it was a landslide. So break down the numbers for us and tell us what this means for Canada.
You know, one of the things that they said about Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party is that their support stretches a mile wide but is an inch deep. And what that meant is they enjoyed support all across the country, but it wasn't that real loyal support that you saw in the Conservatives and in the NDP. Why that matters is because Canada's race is really 338 parliamentary districts, or known as ridings, and each one of them is a first-past-the-post system. What analysts thought was that the Liberals would really do well in the popular vote, but a lot of races where they were running either against a strong Conservative candidate or a strong NDP candidate, they might come right below that 50% mark and not get the votes they needed. That's what people were looking at, but the numbers are very different. You're seeing them there on the screen. 170 seats needed for a majority. The Conservatives down to 99. The NDP also suffering a great defeat, down 44. They were the official opposition in the outgoing party. But there you see it, 184 for the Liberals led by Justin Trudeau, really putting him over that 170 mark. And I remember that moment when they really hit the 170. You saw the numbers going up, and a lot of people really surprised that this was the turnout. And one of the reasons was because of that difficult job of predicting how those first-past-the-post elections would turn out.
Right, we saw Justin Trudeau there at the beginning of the show, a very telegenic young guy. A lot is being made of his age. He's 43. He's the son, of course, of a former Canadian Prime Minister, Pierre Trudeau. What more can you tell us about him?
You know, and it's because of his father that he came in the limelight. In 2000, he eulogized his father at his funeral, and a lot of people really saw his public presence there coming into the spotlight. In 2006, he was already starting to become politically active. He criticized Quebec voters who backed Quebec separation, separatists in Quebec, which is quite interesting because his Liberal Party did quite well in Quebec on Monday night. In 2008, he became an MP for his riding. In 2013, he became the head of the Liberal Party in Canada. This was 2 years after the Liberal Party suffered a stunning defeat in those 2011 elections that put them into third place. They managed under his leadership to do something that has never happened in Canada, which is to come back from 36 seats to now more than 180. That's unprecedented in Canadian history. A lot of people connecting that to his charm, to his personality. He's really out there, a lot of grassroots, and we saw him already on Tuesday. First thing, not hungover from the parties. He was out there in the metros, shaking hands with commuters, and that's really been part of his message, helping promote infrastructure and transport links, and he was really out there meeting them, getting his hands dirty.
The Conservatives under Stephen Harper, they've been in charge in Canada for almost a decade, 9 years. So now, what kind of changes can we expect in Canada?
Well, this is actually a shift to the left. The Liberal Party is center-left, the Conservatives center-right, although many Conservatives in Canada, surprisingly enough, would feel quite welcome in the U.S. Democratic Party, at least in the right-wing part of that party. But we've seen him differ on lots of issues. First of all, Justin Trudeau, in a remarkable move about 7 or 8 weeks ago, promised to increase spending, to run a deficit for the next 3 years, to create jobs, to really get the economy stimulated. And that's because Canada is the only G7 country that's currently in a recession. Admittedly a mild one, but it's still there. A lot of voters concerned about things like jobs, and that's really falling on Justin Trudeau now. That's very different than the NDP, which said they were going to balance the budget, and the deficit that we saw created under the Harper government. A lot of it not their fault. Oil prices falling around the world, Canada, an important oil country. So we'll see changes on issues like that. Also on issues including the environment, really a sharp difference from the Harper government. On the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement that the Harper government brought Canada into, Justin Trudeau accused Harper of negotiating that in secrecy and actually doing things to hurt Canadian jobs. Issues like C-51, the Anti-Terrorism Act, that the Liberals actually supported, but that's right there on the border of majority-minority support. It's unclear what the Liberal Party will do with issues like that. And also repairing relations with the U.S. That'll be very important for him.